Alrighty. Hi, everyone. I'm Maddie. I am the Architectural Historian Compliance Reviewer for DAHP, General Compliance Reviewer for DAHP. So I use Wizard pretty often. So I'm pretty excited to be able to share some updates with you guys and also just a refresher course on how to search via Wizard. So I'm going to share a new screen here. So I'll walk through Wizard for you. And yes, Wizard was down earlier today, but it is back up. So as of a few hours ago, so that's very convenient for us. Alrighty. So I am logged in on our Wizard right now as a archaeology level user. So just something to note moving forward for sure, because your view might be different than my view. If you have only HPI permissions, which a lot of the public would have, or if you're just logged in, or if you're not even logged in and you're just looking at it from the public view. So as I mentioned, we're going to focus on the search tab today, or how to search. So starting with the search tab, this is the home page. So you can click the search tab either from the tab up here or via the tab right here. And it will take you to the same page. I'm actually going to refresh this so I think it's the last search I did. All right, so this is what it looks like when you go to that page. There's a lot of different categories. As I mentioned, I'm an archaeology view, so I have a few extra tabs here that you wouldn't see if you're just in a HPI level reviewer. So if you're just a member of the public or not a certified or SOI qualified Secretary of the Interior qualified architectural historian or archaeologist. So we're just going to really focus on built environment stuff today. So the property tab, how to search for properties mostly. So there's a few different ways to search. I'm going to focus on first the general search tab up here. So that would search through all of these different categories. There's no Boolean search. So you know how when you go on a library website, you can search like two terms, so Maddie and then like and Levesque or something. So I'm spelling my name wrong. You can't do that. You have to just search for a single term and like quotes and stuff like that. So for example, I'll just type in silo and you have to hit enter for it to take. And then it'll show every result in each of the categories that use the word silo. I think for properties specifically, it searches in historic use, or historic name, common name, and then the address. So anytime it mentions the word silo in those categories. So for example, I'll click on the property category. So you'll see, yep, silo, and the historic name there. And there's 72 results. You'll see that some show up a few different times in here. So it's really not 72 results. It's probably a little less than that. This one shows up 3 times, which is just a wizard bug. So always something to check when you are searching. So, and you can export these results to an Excel sheet, and that's probably a more accurate way to see the number of results. So I'll just upload it to a CSV. So, and it will, sorry, I have so many tabs open over here, so move this as well. So yeah, you can upload it as a CSV either there or export it, or you could do it right here as well. There's this CSV button that will download it as a Excel sheet, which will give you more accurate results. There's also the more accurate, so that's for when you're searching all these different categories, but sometimes it can be a little difficult when you're just wanting to search a specific category. So I highly recommend doing that as well. So I'm looking for a specific property that's a silo, for example. I'm going to hit this little funnel here. Actually, I'm going to refresh the refresh button is gone right now, but usually there's a refresh button right here and it will refresh the search so you can do a new search without having to hit the refresh button for the whole window. But I'm just going to do that for now since it's gone. Uh, all right, so new fresh page. I'm going to hit the funnel here and it will take you to this filter page. So this gives you more options to search through. So if I know the property ID of the property that I'm looking for, there's the historic name, common name, as mentioned. Say I want to only see silos that are eligible, determined eligible. So that's really valuable as well. There's address, there's a whole bunch of options as well down here for the different styles and building uses and all this kind of good stuff. So kind of fun to mess around with for sure. Just know that, some of this might not be filled in for some resources, even if they are, say, an Italianate style house. So just it's as accurate as the information that people give us. And then also when you're putting in, say, an address or one of these fill in the blanks where you have to type in something manually, when you're typing it in, always make sure to hit the enter button after that because it won't take if you don't hit the enter button. So I typed silo, I hit enter, and then you hit apply up here. And that will filter. So there's 14-ish, as I mentioned. It's not completely accurate. Silos that are eligible for the National Register of Historic Places. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, so there's also, if you want to sort them a specific way, there's this up and down arrow next to property right here. So I want to sort it by county and ascending. So it'll kind of put them in alphabetical order by county instead. And then, yeah, just hit sort. Might take a second. Yeah, if it still says searching over here, then that means it's not done. So just give it a minute. But yeah, I don't know if we want to wait that long. But eventually it will work, I promise. Yep, there we go. So organized it by county. So starting with Clark. Alrighty. And something to note also with the export button that I showed you with the Excel sheets, and also it does it by PDF too if you want. It's limited to 3,000 results. So if you have more than 3,000 properties in this thing down here, like one of 3,000, then it won't work. So just something to note for sure. Keep them smaller than 3,000. Alrighty. So now just going into looking at the properties themselves. So if you go into one of these, you can either, if you want to just look at the details, you can just click anywhere on the property bar and you'll see the information, just kind of a quick overview of the information on there. If you want to see the photos that are in the historic property inventory, you can also filter it by, this is pretty new, project. So anytime there's been a project where it's in there, like it's in the project as a new inventory, it'll show up here as well. So you can see the different projects where these properties were inventoried, which is nice. You can also just immediately print the HPI. So it's not printing it, it's creating a PDF for you. So that would take a minute. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but it opened another tab for me to download it. And then, yeah, you can't see it, but it opened a PDF for me of the historic property report, which is nice as well. And then you can also show on map, which is really cool. And I'll just show you too. So I closed out of it. So I'm back on the search page. There's the print button on the side here, the details button, which is the same as if I were to click anywhere on this bar here, or the show on map button, which is a little map. So I'll show you the show on map because it's kind of cool. So I clicked on show on map and it took me to where on the map that property is located, which is nice. Or at least where it is mapped, where someone mapped it. All right, gonna go back to the search tab here. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about with the search tab. Oh, look, the refresh button's back. So this is what the refresh button looks like. So that's pretty nice to just start a new search. I also wanted to talk about the map tab and how to search using the map tab as well. So well, see how it took me to where the last place on the map I was looking, but yeah, so you can access the map tab either from the same as the search tab up here or from the home page right here. So open that again. And I am just going to refresh so it shows you what it opens up to when you first open the map tab. So it takes you here. So there's this search tab at the top where you can search by address or by place. So say like Mount Rainier, or like a place has like a name. It'll work with that as well. It uses the same service as Google Maps. So if it's an address in Google Maps, it should be an address on here as well. And you can also search by like township range section, which is really nice because sometimes I know you don't have an address. So if you just want to search by to zoom in on a specific area. And it's nice too, because for township range section, for example, so I clicked this little down arrow to show you the options that you can search by, but you also don't have to do that. But it is kind of nice if you're like, okay, I'm going to search by township range section. I'm going to click this and it will give you the format that it should be in. Because I know sometimes it's, because like technically there could be an N after T35N, but for this, so if you just start typing like T35, and then some options will show up as well, so that format stays with you, and so it's kind of nice. I'm just gonna search by, oh yeah, and it's also important to note too, if you click one of these and you want to use a different way of searching, like, oh, I clicked township range section, but I want to actually search by an address, you got to go back to all or the other way that you want to search before doing so, or it won't work. So I'm going to search by an address just to show you. So random address in Tacoma, and you'll see it kind of filtered in here. So I'll just click that, and it took me there. And there's also, so I'm just going to close this little extra page here. There's different base layers. So say you want to see the satellite view. There's this little 4 square button up here. And if you hover over it, it says base maps. So if you click that, it will show all the different layers. There's some fun ones in here that you can mess around with. Like there's a topo layer from, I want to say like the 80s. So if you want to use like the topo layer, I'll just use hybrid imagery, which shows like the streets and that kind of thing. If you do want to get back to the original base map that it started on, it's the topographic one. So it's this one right here. I know for a while there we couldn't figure out which base layer that was. So that's good to know. There's also the different DAHP layers. So if you click the little stack, I guess, over here on the right side, it'll show you all the layers that you have access to. As previously mentioned, I'm in the archaeological permissions layer, so I see different like archaeology layers and stuff, but we're just going to focus on historic properties that are built environment today. So The property layer is probably the most common one that you'll use, but there's also like the register layer, which is really nice. Uh, so if you want to turn it on, you just have to click this little eyeball here, and then the eyeball will be not crossed out anymore. And you'll see all the dots appeared. This is pretty new, actually. This new legend we updated maybe a few weeks ago. So you now can see eligible properties, not eligible properties, no determination, demolished and destroyed, which is new. And so the first three were already there. And those are when a DAHP staff makes a determination of eligibility on a property. But the demolished and destroyed is pretty new. Within a historic property inventory, there's the construction data, and if someone were to put in that it was demolished, then it would show up as a orange triangle, which is very helpful because I know some properties that are demolished are within a property area or a project area. So, and you don't want to have to note that's no longer there. So it's nice to just have it or do more research to figure out if it is there. So it's nice to have it uh, just on the maps. So it's easy to view. There's also the historic property. Oh yeah, and actually something to note too, with demolished properties, that is still a pretty new feature for construction data. So a lot of them won't show up as demolished or destroyed, even though they have been. And also it's just as updated as people give us the information. So if you do see a property that has been demolished or destroyed, and want that to be updated, go ahead and just email the support@dahp.wa.gov email. And I'll have that on the last slide as well for you guys to have, if you want to copy it. And we'll update it. We don't want new historic property inventories created just for recording demolition dates, because then it's just pretty much a blank inventory with a demolition date. So that's kind of our workaround to make sure we get more updated data. There's also the blue square, which is brand new as well. And that is to kind of flag when something is a listed historic property. So we noticed that a lot of people weren't turning on the register layer, which is another layer on this DAHP layers page as well. And so I'll just turn it on to show you. So it's really just to flag properties in another way that are actually listed on the National Register of Historic Places, or if they're listed on the Washington Heritage Register, or if they're a heritage barn on the barn register for Washington. So you'll see up here, this is the North Slope Historic District in Tacoma. All the dots that are within the historic district and are contributing to the historic district are going to be blue. And again, that information is just as accurate as we make it. So we're having to go in, DAHP staff is having to go in, thank you, Michael Hauser, for go in and actually click if it's contributing or not. So we're working really hard on making sure that's accurate, but sometimes it isn't. So it's always good to check the National Register nomination that is within the historic property inventories, just to make sure it's actually contributing or it's actually not contributing. And some of the nominations are really old too, so they might not even have if the property is contributing or not. So something to kind of keep an eye on. But it's just an extra flag really to make sure we're not missing any districts or anything like that that are actually listed. So, and you'll notice too that there are many more dots than maybe you would have noted a few weeks ago, and that's because we integrated the assessor dots. So we used to have a separate kind of section on the properties, if you hit this down arrow, that would show assessor dots, and that was part of a survey that we did in 2011 within certified local government program, within the certified local government program in Washington, where we created kind of like dummy historic property inventories just to, again, flag these properties that are over 45 years old. So you'll see that there might be a few duplicates because there's overlapping HPIs that had the assessor dots as well as maybe an HPI that someone created. And so really we integrated those so that that wouldn't happen anymore. So yeah, for example, these two dots are probably the same property. And again, if you see those and you want them to be merged, email the support box and we will make sure to merge them so that the data is the most up to date as possible. So kind of looking at these dots now, this feature isn't working, so bear with me as I describe it. Usually what you can do, so there's a lot of dots here. If you click one of them, then this little bar will pop up and the first one is, so it shows all the different layers within the one that you clicked. So I clicked this, I have the section, township range section on the layer because that's automatically on for all users. So that layer pops up. And then if you were to hit this next arrow from one of two, the next, it would show a little preview of the historic property inventory form. Right now it's not working, so that's unfortunate, but there's other workarounds to kind of get around that. So say, I know that this property is in my project area. So if you know the property ID, so you can search it up here. So if I click this resources tab at the top, you can actually just type in the number while looking at it. So 508-162, and then it will pop up and you can click from here onto the inventory. So this is what a historic property inventory looks like. I'm going to click out of it. It should take me back to the map. Another way to work around right now, hopefully we'll get this fixed soon. It shouldn't be a problem. If you click, no, that doesn't work, but the print button. So maybe it doesn't work right now, but yeah, that's one work. Oh, no, it did. It did. So if you hit the print button, it will create a PDF that you can then look at the HPI. So that's another way to kind of get around it right now. And then another way is the last kind of thing I'm going to focus on is using this pencil tab, which is another way if you have a project area to grab a bunch of historic property inventories or whatever layers you have on, actually, or actually not even layers that you have on, but information within an area. So it's easier to just show you. So clicking this pencil here gives you a few options if you want to use a point, a line, a polygon, or just a square, a rectangle. I'm going to draw a rectangle just to show you easiest. And so to start the rectangle, just click, and then to end it, double click, and it will immediately take you to the search tab. And it will be thinking, I know it says error at the top, but it's working. Just give it a second. You'll see it's thinking here for property because there's more property probably than anything within that project area. But it will show you all the different properties within that rectangle that you grabbed. And you'll see there's other things as well within that project area, like a survey that was done. So it will really grab whatever from these categories that's mapped in that area. So it's pretty neat as well and helpful for projects and doing background research on projects. I think that's pretty much it. Just a note for the resources tab as well up here that I kind of started typing in a project or a property ID. You can search by historic name, you can search by common name, and property ID as I showed you, and then address as well. So if I started typing in another address, the options should show up here. And again, if you click it, you'll be able to see the information here. And I'm going to also so yeah, as I showed you, I've refreshed a few times on this page just to make sure things will start working again. So that's something I always say to people is when in doubt, refresh. And that's pretty common advice for WISAARD throughout. So if something's not working and it should be working or it worked in the past, I would always just hit the refresh button and reload the page. It might kind of mess with the results and you might have to redo the search, but uh, it'll make it so that it works. So better than nothing for sure. And then as I've described some updates that we recently had with WISAARD. So there's a Gov delivery for WISAARD right now. Well, it's for all of DAHP updates, but we do our WISAARD updates on there. So I highly recommend signing up for our Gov delivery. It is a pop-up page on our website. So if you go to our website, it will say sign up for our updates. And you just type in your email and you'll get subscribed to those. And as I mentioned as well, if you need help with anything, please reach out to the support box that DAP has. And I will share the email now so you can see it. Hold on. Okay. There, yeah, and hopefully if someone could put the Gov delivery link to subscribe to that in the chat, that would be great, as I do not have it right in front of me. But yeah, this is the email here, support@dap.wa.gov. And I am happy to put in or answer any questions, and I'll check the chat too, because I know that there's probably some chat questions in there. Thanks, Kim, for answering one of them. But yeah, feel free to come off mute or because yeah, I don't think I can see hand raises very well. So just come off mute if you have a question or put it in the chat. That's more comfortable. Thanks, Michelle, for the Gov delivery. Thanks, Alex.
Hey, this is Jesse Norton from Grand Ronde. I was just wondering if y'all are doing like certificates of completion or anything like that for all
Talk
these
about.
different like training academy things.
We are not, but it's always good to know that you've attended them for sure.
Okay, cool. All
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. No problem. I always love an awkward silence before ending a meeting. It always make sure that there's no other questions. So I think that's it. Again, this isn't your only opportunity for questions. Feel free to reach out to our support inbox, or if it's a question you think I can directly help you with better, feel free to reach out to me as well. I'm happy to help. And email is always the best way to reach us for sure. And as I mentioned previously, and as Kim mentioned previously, we still have a few more trainings coming up. I think for our WISAARD shorts are the only ones that we have on the calendar so far. So I'll do tips for mapping one more time. And then Marina Lenga, our other compliance reviewer for transportation projects, will cover historic properties and recording those and historic property inventories. So thanks again for coming, everyone. I really appreciate it. And this video will be available on our YouTube as soon as it's available. So thanks again. Any last words, Kim? I'll take that as a no.
Good job, Maddie. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Have a good one and a good rest of your week, everyone. Bye.